Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today, as you can see, we are in the midst of a 1K tournament, and we have a lot of top players in the game in this tournament. And the reason being is because I threw out a little something to spice up the tournament on Twitter. I put up this post basically offering $100 to anybody who could play the Elite Barbarians and make the top 3. Now, I think this will actually add an element of fun that, sometimes is lacking in these longer tournaments in terms of the YouTube, so I can recap them and actually add a different, theme to these tournaments. So I might do one for Tornado if you guys want to next time. If anybody finishes top 3, with Tornado, I'll do the same offer, $100 gift card or $100 PayPal. So today, we're about 2/3 of the way into this tournament, and we have two players. You know them very well by now if you're following Clash Royale. They're two of the most prolific players in the game, and that's Pompeo and Marcus. Pompeo from Synergy Mexico and Marcus from Hammers Esports. They're both really good players, and both of them are around the top 10 right now. I think Pompeo might be top 10 as it currently stands right now, and Marcus might be around 7 or 8. Anyway, we'll look in a second. But they're both doing very well. Now, there are a lot of other top players playing Elite Barbarians, all trying to kind of, make the top 3 and get the money. So let's not kid ourselves to think that they all want to play the Elite Barbarians, and we're going to talk a lot about that throughout today's video. I want to get to the bottom of these Elite Barbarians. The jury's still out. We don't want to overreact on day 1, right? Because that would be silly. A lot of people thought Mega Minions, Lava Hound, a lot of the cards, when they're introduced, they seem very underwhelming, but you have to remember, have faith in the Clash Royale team. They did playtest these for a long time, and I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that I know the game designer. He's a really bright guy, really brilliant guy, better than bright. So I know that they have some interesting ideas that we probably haven't even thought of when considering new cards being added to the game. Now, with that said, they don't seem to be that great so far, and I'm going to talk about why. But let's see if one of these top players can actually win or place top 3, maybe even first overall. Now, part of the downside of having there be a lot of top players in this tournament is that there's a lot of stiff competition at the top. So these guys playing Elite Barbarians are going to have to go up against other top players, such as we have Colton in this tournament, we have Marcel P, we have a lot of really good players in this tournament. So the idea here is, can these guys use Elite Barbarians to have success? And we're going to be talking again about the strategy they use them for. Are they mainly using them on defense? Are they going to use them offensively? It seems like the natural inclination would be to play them defensively and take advantage of their speed on these counter pushes. Other than that, I can't think of a real great reason. I mean, you can split them, but what do you want to split a single single Elite Barbarian in each lane? It's not like that's a win condition per se. I mean, what are you even going to back it up with? Split archers behind it? I'm not sure that really makes a ton of sense. So you can see here, the first match we're watching right now is Pompeo on the bottom here. He's going against a Golem beatdown deck, really classic in this current meta after this balance update, or the previous balance update. A real classic deck with the Lightning Baby Dragon and pretty much the standard supporting cards to kind of make that stack behind the Golem, especially now in double elixir time. Now, at this point, both of the players kind of basically chipping away damage onto each other's towers using direct damage, so it's lightning versus fireball right now. As you can see, Pompeo doing a pretty good job defending these Golem pushes at the river. He's going to use the tombstone on the opposite side lane, really make that Golem travel a long distance, and then use the Elite Barbarians to take it down. It's been pretty much the combination he's been using, trying to sneak the Hog Rider in there, and he does. So Pompeo actually pulls off the win there, and you can see the Elite Barbarians did a pretty good job defensively. The only issue is you could use so many cards in that spot for cheaper than 6 elixir and still do a great job defensively. So this is our leaderboard right now. You can see I'm gonna from time to time just check in to make sure no one else is using the Elite Barbarians, because part of the stipulation is they need to use it the entire tournament. They can't switch to Elite Barbarians at the last second and be like, hey, give me my $100, Ash. That's not how it's gonna gonna work. So you can see now we're gonna switch to Marcus here, and my idea for this video is basically just alternating from Marcus to Pompeo. Unless one of them gets really close to top 3 or gets in the top 3, we'll probably stay with them to see if they can finish the job. So Marcus here doing really well. They're both playing somewhat similar decks here. You can see the card selection, both relying on the Hog Rider as their win condition. Marcus playing Lightning, Pompeo playing Fireball, so should be interesting to see who has more success, even though they're relatively similar decks when you think about what each player is trying to do here. So going against another Hog Rider deck himself here, we're going to use the Elite Barbarians here on defense. Yet again, they can withstand a Fireball pretty well there and still take a hit or two from those archers, but for me, my first impressions are I don't have a huge problem with the expense. Well, I guess I do. It feels like they should cost 5 right now, you know? And if they're gonna cost 6, to me, just early impressions. Now remember, I've only played them a handful of matches on my actual account. However, I did play them for about 5 or 6 hours yesterday when I was preparing this sneak peek video for you guys. Granted, it was against myself half the time and against a few other YouTubers, but still, I do have, you know, a pretty good feel for them. I've even played them maxed out on the developer build. And to me, you know, I think, first of all, I think it's important to actually level them up. I would not ignore the Elite Barbarians because, you know, going by the recent history, the Clash Royale team, when they introduce new cards, they like them to be successful, but they don't like them to be too strong. What they normally do is they introduce a new card, and then they're very, very willing to buff it up rather than having it start really strong, and that just makes sense. I mean, think about it. If you want to introduce something to the game, the last thing you want to do is immediately nerf it. That's not what you want to do, you know? Okay, guys, here's a new card. Everybody level it up. Everybody spend money, whatever. And then nerf. That does not go over well with the community. So I think the Clash team errs on the side of making these cards a little bit underwhelming. That was not the case with Graveyard, seems to be the case with Tornado, and I think it might be the case also with the Elite Barbarians. So I do want to get into my ideas to make them, you know, a little bit better, what I think, what I might hypothesize very early on. Full disclaimer here, just kind of having some fun talking about the game here, guys. I'm not advocating these things. I'm demanding these things need to happen, just giving my early thoughts, but I will tell you what those early thoughts are. But for now, I just want to catch the end of this game here. We are over a minute now into overtime at this point, and they're kind of just trading direct damage while they cycle to their hogs. I mean, that's the thing about the game right now, and this is, you know, not a lot of people notice this, surprisingly, because it should be pretty obvious, but the game right now is so strong defensively that oftentimes when you get really good players going head-to-head, it just ends up being a battle of who can out-direct damage the opponent. So Marcus actually wins this one, and he kind of eating my words now because he won it with the Hog Rider there. So a nice job by Marcus. Now both of our pros start off this episode with a win. Now I can tell you I've been watching both these guys most of the tournaments, and I think I caught one loss so far by Pompeo. I haven't caught any losses yet by Marcus, but either of these guys, both of these guys, excuse me, probably only have 0 or 1 losses at this point. Tough to tell, but just gauging by their trophy level right now. So we're gonna have to see if they can pull it off, and this should be, it could be the match of the episode, guys. TopNotch. You guys know TopNotch. He's from Reddit Alpha. He was at the, I forgot what place he finished, but he did make the main stage in King's Cup tournament. So TopNotch, one of the best players in the game. Did I mention, guys, did I mention that all the top players were in this tournament right now? I mean, at least all the ones who are in the US or in the West, I should say, who are actually awake. But yeah, a lot of top players. So top players, TopNotch at the top. We have Pompeo at the bottom at this point. And again, Pompeo is able to sneak that Hog Rider in and do a decent amount of damage. That bowler did a decent job holding off the Mega Minion and, you know, causing a little bit of interruption in that Hog Rider swings, given the circumstances, but still, I'm sure Pompeo is going to be happy with this, the start on this match here. So now we have the Ice Golem followed by the Archers, making a little mini push here, not going to do a lot of damage. Nice log there. Again, this is going to be a battle, and these top players know this. It's going to be a battle of getting more damage than the opponent via direct damage onto the towers. You can see that their TopNotch has Fireball. Pompeo, we already know know has Fireball as well. So there's the Fireball. I mean, I'm the same way right now. I'm using Fireball any chance I can possibly get when the opponent gives me the open and I have the elixir, meaning if they have a furnace or a tombstone and I have the elixir handy, if I have any advantage, I'm gonna go ahead and use my Fireball even before double elixir overtime in a match right now. So I really like using direct damage pretty liberally compared to what I have in the past. So both of these players, you can see TopNotch already, that might be the second or third Fireball that he's launched over there. Anytime Pompeo gives him any sort of value around that crown tower, TopNotch is going to jump right on it with that Fireball. And again here, you can see Pompeo trying to set the table here. The bowler just really kind of interrupting what he wants to do is send in that Hog Rider. So he needs to come up with something to get that bowler out of rotation, sneak in the Hog Rider. That's what Pompeo's trying to do. And TopNotch just doing a good job basically using that bowler as a huge defensive buffer there in the lane, keeping the Hog Rider at bay. And Pompeo can't be feeling too good right now. He finally switches lanes, but of course TopNotch has the Inferno Tower ready. Really, this is a hard counter deck to what Pompeo is trying to do here, and TopNotch, obviously an incredibly skilled player to boot. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult here for Pompeo. He probably knows that he's in trouble right now. Graveyard on his tower, Fireballs raining in left and right, and at this point, between the Inferno Tower and the bowler, Pompeo's got to be scratching his head and being like, you know what, whatever. I'm sure he's close to probably throwing in the towel at this point. He rains in a Fireball of his own there, but it's just not enough damage, and there he goes. He says good game. He knows just one more cycle, one more rotation with that Graveyard by TopNotch should probably do it. You can see he's going to go ahead and start with Ice Golem, Graveyard, Fireball, and this might actually not do it. Pompeo might be able to hold him off for maybe one more push. Ooh, look at this. The Elite Barbarians are in the lane. I'll tell you what, guys, they move really fast, but ooh, pretty good clutch defense there with that Ice Golem by TopNotch. That was actually close there. One final stand, Pompeo's final stand right there, and that was actually really good towards the end there. Two really skilled players going head to head. That was a real pleasure to watch. Let's go ahead and see how Marcus is doing. Just want to make sure. So let's see, where is Marcus right now? Okay, so Marcus is in 6th place. Let's see how he's doing here. So if Marcus can hold on, he might have a chance. There's still plenty of time left in this tournament, so he might have a chance to get the $100. You know what, guys? I was kind of rooting for somebody to get the $100, but I didn't want 3 people to make it. So you know what? I'm totally cool with 1. And I'm happy with 2, and I won't lie, gonna kind of cry a little bit if I have to pay $300 to these guys. But anyway, guys, do you think I should do Tornado tomorrow, or do you think I should stay with Elite Barbarians in terms of making that extra prize pool? Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. Ash, like, why are you even doing this? Most of us don't even have leveled up Elite Barbarians to play, so what's the point? And the point is, and you can see Elite Barbarians right here defensively, they do a pretty good job with the Ice Spirit and the Log, but think about it, that 6/7 S9 elixir to defend that push. That's the thing, the Elite Barbarians are just so expensive. Even when it looks like they're doing a great job defensively, they're just so easy to counter on the counter push. All you really need is a tombstone, you know, and you can take them down. So I'm not sure that they're worth it, but back to the point I was asking you guys about. This is going to be the question of the day, by the way, guys. I want to know, should I continue doing these prizes? And again, the reason I do this is to attract the top players in the game, because right now tournaments, you know, they're not the sexiest way to get cards in the game. Much more lucrative for top players to actually play grand challenges, because, you know, it doesn't take an hour of your time, or in an hour of your time in a grand challenge, you can easily make what you'd probably average in a tournament. So that's the kind of the issue right now with tournaments. So if I offer this extra prize of $100, if you do a certain thing to make the final top 3, it incentivizes them to play, and then I get to share their gameplay with you guys. So that is the method behind my madness, and you know what, I want to learn what these guys are thinking, what these guys are doing with the Elite Barbarians too, so I thought it would be a nice win-win. That was a really nice lightning there by Marcus, and it looks like both of our pros, well, I was going to say both of our pros were going to go undefeated, but that is not going to be the case, because TopNotch actually just beat Pompeo, but it looks like Marcus is going to be undefeated here if if he can close this out. It's not a lock at this point, but you can see already attracting a lot of viewers. I think the viewers at this point have kind of caught on that Marcus and Pompeo are going to be the guys to watch here. I think there are a few other really good players in this tournament using the Elite Barbarians, so I do want to check in on them if I can kind of get a sense of who's actually using it. So I will kind of take a look around here and there to see who else might be using the Elite Barbarians. But as I do so, let's see here. Let's check a few profiles. See if we can get, yeah, it looks like the top players certainly are not using the Elite Barbarians. They're like, screw you, Ash. I'm not using Elite Barbarians. I'm going to try to win this thing. And I do want to talk again. And I want to get your, 2 questions of the day. What? 2 questions of the day, guys. Question number 1 is, should I continue doing this? Question number 2, which is probably more importantly, is do you have the Elite Barbarians? Did you buy the special value deal? If you did, what are your first impressions? I can, kind of almost imagine that they may not be that great. Doesn't seem like the community overall is incredibly impressed with this new card, but hey, are any of you having success with them? If so, please do myself and the fellow viewers a favor and tell us what decks you're liking them in. So here we go. This should be a good match as well. We have Andre from Red Alpha versus Pompeo. So Andre is also a very good and pretty well-known Lava Hound player. So let's see how this match ends up here. So Pompeo has to be happy after that last match that he's not going against another bowler deck. And I'll tell you, I'm a Hog Rider player. True and true, I use Hog Rider both in ladder and in challenges and tournaments, and there's nothing more frustrating for a Hog Rider player than to go against good bowler players, because bowlers can just shut down a hog push, and I absolutely hate it every time. But look at that aggressive move with the Elite Barbarians on the tower there, doing a decent amount of damage on that left tower. I mean, that might be how you should use the Elite Barbarians. Granted, I mean, 6 elixir is still a pretty costly expense there, but still, they move so fast, and if you're going against somebody who's playing any kind of a beatdown variation, any kind of a beatdown deck, and they drop that Golem, they drop that Lava Hound, if you time it correctly, it can probably be a pretty good idea to play the Elite Barbarians in the opposite lane, similar that you would do a Hog Rider in other circumstances. Basically, if you can get them to that tower, and oftentimes against a Lava Hound player, they're not going to have that distracting defensive unit. They're going to have a Mega Minion, which is exactly what Andre played there. So a pretty decent fireball there. He knows he has to stop that Hog Rider. That could have been a lot of damage there. Playing the Mini P.E.K.K.A. after he came in the rotation as well. Tombstone going to stop the Mini P.E.K.K.A. along with the Mega Minion. And, oh, the Elite Barbarian play by Pompeo again in that left lane. Maybe he was playing them anticipating perhaps a Lava Hound play in the right lane. I think he probably knew that Andre was sitting on close to full elixir there. That could have been really, really lucrative for Pompeo there on that left lane, and he keeps going aggressive, and he has to go aggressive at this point. He goes aggressive with the Hog Rider in the left, but that Mini P.E.K.K.A. just doing a good job defensively. Now these pups will start to bleed into that right tower a little bit, but still, given the circumstances, very good defense there by Pompeo. And look at this, guys. All he needs is a fireball, and there it is in a log, and that will end the match for Pompeo here. And he goes ahead, takes down that left tower, and that's GG. Pompeo, you can tell, much more in his wheelhouse against this type of deck versus TopNotch's kind of graveyard control deck. It was a cool deck. I've actually seen that deck a few times before, the one that TopNotch was playing. If you guys are lucky enough to have the graveyard spell, go ahead and try out that deck. It's very, very difficult to counter. You play it defensively, you play it like a control deck, and just like TopNotch, you use the fireball, the direct damage, and the graveyard, when you have the elixir advantage, and try to just chip away at your opponent's tower to begin with, come on strong at the end. So Marcus 35 picks up the victory again there. We kind of caught the tail end of that match. Well, barely caught the tail end, but it looked like he was actually going against another player playing the Elite Barbarians. So let's talk about the actual Elite Barbarians. We haven't talked much about them, so let's go ahead and put on a Marcel P match. It looks like he's actually almost done here too. Now Marcel P, very, very well known in the community to be one of the truly best players in the entire game, and I'm not being hyperbolic there. That's just 100% legit. He wins a ton of tournaments, and he's just really, really good. So Marcel P, and there he goes, picks up the win there. I'm going to go ahead and exit out, and you can see time's a ticking here. Time is a ticking. Let's go ahead and hop back onto Marcus. If Marcus can beat Jit here, I think he will be top 3. It looks like I might be $100 poorer, but I don't want to jinx him, guys. I don't want to jinx him. So why don't we go ahead and relax and watch this match here? Well, try to relax. I'm hyped. Can you tell? I'm hyped. But what we're going to do is talk about the Elite Barbarian. So to me, my early opinions are, by the way, Graveyard coming in hot. Guards, good guard play there. So the Elite Barbarians, right? So my thing is it's hard to compare them to actual Barbarians because they're much more like a Lumberjack in terms of movement speed and DPS. But the thing is you have to compare them to Barbarians somewhat because Barbarians are a ground melee unit and they cost relatively the same, you know, 1 elixir cheaper at 5 versus 6. And Barbarians to me still feel like a better play than Elite Barbarians. Now, it's day one. It's day one, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but the thing with Barbarians is you can use them as a swarm, you can split them and have 2 Barbarians in each lane. The fact that they're slow moving isn't even a bad thing necessarily. It gives you time to actually build up a nice push. Elite Barbarians with their movement speed is definitely a huge advantage. You can, like we saw Pompeo doing earlier against the Lava Hound, you can play them at the river if your opponent plays a really heavy tank, but they do cost a lot, and they can be stopped with something, you know, like a skeleton army very easily for 3 elixir or a tombstone for that matter. I mean, there's a lot of counters that you can play and they don't have enough hit points to withstand those counters. Even like an ice golem and some archers or some spear goblins would actually be enough to take them down along with the tower support. So for me, they need like a lot more HP or they need a lot more DPS. They need a little bit more of one of those things, I think, early on here. Because even when you get them to a tower, or if you get them close to a tower, and your opponent drops like an ice golem or a knight, you know what the answer might be? Is an increased swing speed. That might be it. If you give them the swing speed, the attack rate of, say, a knight, I think you're in much better shape, because the thing about them is they're just so easily countered, and you really don't want a 6 elixir troop to be that easily countered, and defensively, they're just better options out there. Skeleton army, regular barbarians. I mean, there's a lot. In a defensive structure, hell, an Inferno Tower is still 1 elixir cheaper, and certainly, in most cases, you'd rather have an Inferno Tower. Not comparing apples and oranges, but you know, the point is, there's better options for that amount of elixir in my mind. So you can see here, let's actually get to this match here, and Jit, you can see, is probably going to take this one, and I'll be honest with you, even though I was the one paying up, I'm kind of upset to see this, because I was really rooting for Marcus here. I love the Hammers guys. They're some of the awesomest guys in the entire game in terms of just being like really good citizens of Clash Royale and really good players, so I always root for the Hammers guys when I see them. Check it out, actually Marcus is in 6th place right now, so let's just watch him. He's obviously going to play another match. He might actually have a shot at 3rd place if one of those guys plays and loses. So let's pull from Marcus here, guys. He's playing against Diago. Diago, not my Diago. Okay, I saw the name Diago, and we have a Diago in Elite Gaming, but it's not the same guy. So let's see who comes out on top here. We know what Marcus is playing by now. I'm rooting hard for Marcus. I really want one of these real good sports who play the Elite Barbarians to actually come top 3. That would be really cool. So we're going to be pulling for Marcus here. Not going to root for you. Sorry, Diago. Sorry, man. So let's go ahead and see what he can do here. So he's going to be playing the Elite Barbarians on defense, and this is what I'm talking about, guys. If they hit just a little bit faster, or even if it did some more damage, you know, I felt like they took a little bit too long for 6 elixir to kill that giant, right? I mean, is it just me, or was that a little bit underwhelming? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So that's why I do want to hear from you guys. Make sure you include the decks that you're playing, that you're having success with Elite Barbarians, if there is any at all. And be constructive. Don't just say they suck. Say why they suck, or how you'd make them better. That's the kind of comments that I really dig. So Ice Spirit here, and you can tell Elite Barbarians coming right up as soon as he hits 6 elixir, and there they are. So Elite Barbarians on the giant, but again, look how long they take to kill the giant. Is that a little bit too long? I think it might be. I mean, all things considered, still pretty good defense here for Marcus, but you can tell he's not doing what he wants to do, and he's, again, at the elixir disadvantage here to Diego up at the top. So, Diego, you can see, I don't even know what he's playing for those 2 last cards. Maybe a graveyard? Let's see, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe a graveyard, maybe a lightning for one of those spells. Maybe even another direct damage spell like a zap or something. We'll have to wait and see here. But again, Marcus trying to get to that right tower, does a little bit of damage to the right tower. Oh, and uses lightning there to take down that musketeer and dig into the Giant's HP a little bit here. He's gonna have to rely on these guards here to take down that Giant. And the bowler, again, just like Pompeo earlier in this video, the bowler really causing problems here for Marcus. He's kind of switching between the 2 towers, as you can see, depending on where the bowler is, and of course where the tombstone is in the rotation there for Diego. So now it's going to be a matter of, can Marcus get the Hog Rider onto a tower? He has the lightning spell, so he wants to get his combo going. It would be ideally Ice Golem, Ice Spirit, Hog Rider, lightning spell. Take down the tombstone, so he has to catch Diego with the tombstone out of his rotation, out of his cycle, or he has to have the right lightning ready at the right time using the log afterwards to dispose of the skeletons and get the hog on that tower. Pretty decent defense here again by Marcus there, protecting that left tower. And you know what? I'm going to call it right now. There's going to be a right lane push here, I think, by Marcus. He has full elixir, the elixir advantage, and there it is. Hog Rider, lightning, beautiful lightning there, beautiful. Takes down that Mega Minion. You know that Diego knew it was coming, but he played that Mega Minion a little bit early, and he was able to get the lightning and a hit by the hog on that right tower was Marcus. So that was actually a pretty good offensive play. Still able to defend. Look at this. Oh, look at those archers placed at the exact correct second to distract that musketeer and take her down while she was being locked onto by his left tower. Oh, another lightning spell. This is going to be close, guys, but you can see, unfortunately, all he needed was a log, Diego, and then he BMs to boot. Poor Marcus. Feel bad, man. That sucks. 2 losses after, I don't think, losing the entire tournament. I was rooting for him. Jit, the guy who took him down the previous match, actually ends up finishing in 3rd place. RA finishes in 2nd place, and Marcel P, with that very tricky bowler controlled chip deck with the graveyard as sort of a proxy win condition, actually picks up the victory. I'm interested to hear, if you're watching this, Marcel, did you lose at all? I don't think you did. You have a pretty high trophy total there. And, oh, look at that, guys. Razor was playing. Razor finished 5th place, and he was playing the Elite Barbarians, and we totally missed him. Oh, that's a bummer. My bad on that, Razor. My apologies. Razor is actually a really good player in his own right. He's in Clout Bruh right now, and you can see he actually finished 5th place using the Elite Barbarians. So we did have 3 finishers in the top 15 or 20 playing the Elite Barbarians. I just wanted to thank everybody who came out and was a good sport here playing the Elite Barbarians for doing so. Guys, I want to thank you all for watching till the end of this episode. I really appreciate it, guys. This is the season for Thanksgiving here in the States, so I do want to extend my warm thanks and gratitude for all of you guys. You guys are like family to me. I really love and appreciate every single one of you, so thank you so much, and as always, take care, guys.